Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Factional Fight Update from my car. As you can see, I'm driving home as I do every day, and I thought I'd turn on the video and just shoot off some ideas that have been bouncing around in my head all week. So last weekend, I finally got Brian to come onto the stream, and we got to play some Worm. We started up a plan that was in action, or at least we were in discussions about for like, it's gotta be over a year or two. We thought about this idea a long time ago, and we finally got around to doing it. And the idea was to shed all of our high-level gear, get rid of it all of our dragon armor, all of our weapons, tools, everything, just empty out our inventory, and then get magically whisked away to a random server. Now the magic part happened recently, but randomly whisked away to a random server and just get started on trying to rebuild everything from nothing. And so recently, over the holidays, we got given a gift from the Worm team. It was a magic lamp, and we were told that this magic lamp allows us to use 3 wishes, and we can wish for whatever we want that will help our stream. And we decided to use one of our wishes to just get ourselves GM teleported to somewhere random on release. We chose release. We were debating between release and celebration because 2 reasons. One was both servers are pretty remote and both servers are small. So we wanted one of the smaller servers and just like remote. But what I noticed was that release was more active than celebration, at least at the time that I was researching it. It looked like more players were playing on release. And on top of that, release has this sort of like, allure to it because it's part of the new world. It's part of that cluster. When Pristine and Release were opened, it was completely separate from the rest of Freedom. So you couldn't sail to it, so it was isolated. You know, when they first opened those servers, I started a brand new character over at Release, and played a whole bunch, like the newbie experience again. Got my guy up. He was actually not so bad, like probably 50s skill, 50s or 60s or something like that in a lot of things. I eventually abandoned that project to come back to Freedom before they connected the servers, and yeah, so that guy's still over there somewhere. Nonetheless, we decided release, and we, shed everything, and we, one thing we decided to do was we decided to keep. We had this whole debate, like should we maybe pick a couple items that we might want to bring along with us? Should we maybe each of us can pick 3 of our most treasured items and we can bring those along with us, kind of like the what do you call it? You are going to be on an island all by, what do you call that? You're abandoned on an island, and what 3 things would you bring with you, sort of thing. I debated that. In the end, we decided to bring along a couple backpacks. Now these are those special backpacks that were given as gifts a few years ago, that the only difference between those and regular backpacks is that they weigh 1 weight instead of 2. We decided to bring those just to help ourselves with our inventory and sorting our inventory and things like that right off the bat. Totally not necessary. We felt totally not game breaking at all, that we would probably soon be able to create backpacks or satchels or whatever. So those were the only items we decided to bring, aside from a flint and steel. We brought along, each of us brought along a flint and steel, one of the newbie ones, so like one that those 50 quality newbie flint and steels. And the reason why we decided to do that, because we just thought how painstakingly horrible it would be to have to go get and create a new flint and steel. Mostly because steel is nearly it's just super hard to get steel when you're a new player. So one thing that was interesting about that was, we mentioned that we were going to do this, and we we're going to shed all our gear in the back channels, and Buddha replied, and he's asking, when are you going to do this? Because, he's been working on trying to figure out a way of making flint and steel easier to obtain as a new player. Just to ease it, because that's really the only item that you kind of have to take with you if you're going to do one of these Iron Man challenge type things. Because of how difficult it is to get. And then without it, you can't really progress to anything, right? Because you can't get steel without having, a fire of some kind, and you can't have a forge. You You can't light a forge without a flint and steel. So anyway, he was shooting off some ideas. Again, these are just like complete ideas of like how to make it more feasible. One idea was add a rare chance of getting steel from a rummage action. So a piece of steel. That's one idea. Another idea is to add a completely new item that would be sort of a really bad version of a flint and steel that maybe either has one use or maybe just damages really quickly or something like that. Anyway, we were discussing this a day before the stream, or even the day of the stream, so it wasn't like feasible to change it for the show. But nonetheless, it's interesting that Buddha's thinking about this, and I think that it's definitely something that would help a lot when it comes to, let's say, even new players losing their flint and steel, or just people who are interested in trying this challenge. It makes it a little bit more feasible to get that flint and steel. Now the challenge also, like going through that experience of starting from scratch with nothing, we knew that there was going to be that period of time where we have to create crude tools and before we can get to iron tools. Now I really kind of expected this process to be a lot longer than it ended up being. We ended up getting to that point where we could create iron tools on that first episode, and we were really only at it for an hour and a half or something like that, after we finally made it over to release and after we finally started working on tools, like getting tools again. It really didn't take long before we transitioned from the crude tools over to iron tools. Like, we really only needed to get a crude knife, forge a bunch of branches. What else did we need to do? Oh yeah, we needed to, what? I guess we decided to create a crude hatchet, right? Because once we had the hatchet, then you could chop down trees, get more kindling and wood scraps, and create shafts. Was it that we could create shafts? I'm trying to remember, but I can't remember exactly. But once we had there was a couple items that we needed to get. It wasn't that many. You could then start creating iron tools, and then once you have the iron tools, then you're back to good. And it didn't take long to get there. We got our anvil. We got a whole bunch of tools. Now, since then, we haven't really been doing much. I logged in a couple times, and I mostly started like exploring, just looking around at the surroundings and trying to see what kind of deeds there were around, were there other active players around that area, and I haven't really gotten that far on that front. It seems like there's a lot of open, undeeded land, especially near water. Like, I feel like Release has a ton of water, which is really good. And so finding a spot next to water doesn't seem like it's going to be that much of an issue. What we really wanted to do, though, was settle near people who are actively playing, but who are also sort of at the beginning-ish stages as well. Like we're starting out from scratch again, and we kind of want to, settle around in an area where other people are also in that mode of not too far along in the game. Like, maybe a few months in, maybe a half a year in, sort of thing, where they have their setup, but they're still working on developing. So we're gonna spend the next little bit just searching different areas. We might set up a little temporary base somewhere, and just use that base as a way of getting our tools back up to par, and working on just some random stuff, like, for example, maybe collecting a couple horses and getting our wagons, a wagon or a cart or something like that. But then once we have that stuff, then we're going to be spending our time looking for a good spot to settle. We're going to just explore every end of the server and try to find where are the hot spots for developing characters, developing players, active communities and such. And we're going to just sort of pick a strategic spot that will allow us to, hang out with people, get to know people, figure out what the server's all about. So one thing that, if you guys are interested in joining us on this challenge, then feel free to come on over to Release and hang out with us, and maybe even settle a new deed near us and whatever, and hang out. And we can all have fun together. I think that'll be a lot of fun. On the stream, Lionx was following us around. He noticed we were streaming and just like hang out with us and helped us along. He helped kill some mobs for us, and that was awesome. So maybe we'll look to see if we can find where Lionx lives, and find people to hang out with. So I think that'll be a lot of fun. Moving forward from here, I think that on the next stream we'll just be at it again, I think. And my plan is to get a regular-ish schedule. I'm hoping, I can't guarantee it, but I really hope Fridays are the days. This Friday, I'm definitely available to stream. I'm going to get Brian to commit to Friday because I'm just hoping that we can get some regular schedule. Because I know it's really hard for people to tune in if there's no schedule, because they don't know when we're going to be streaming. But if we know that every Friday we're going to stream, then people know that every Friday. And we want you guys to come along for the ride with us. So another thing off topic from this is I've decided to delve into social media a little bit for our channel. So I signed us up for a Twitter account, and we used to have an old Twitter account that was at Factional Fight, but somehow it got compromised and we lost it. I'm not sure how, and I don't know how to get it back. So we don't own the at Factional Fight Twitter handle. So I rolled a new account. I called it Factional Fight Brothers, but for some odd reason, Twitter truncated it, and now our at name is at Factional B. I don't know why that happened, but I don't really want to roll another one, so I think that that's the one that we're going to stick with. So if you want to follow us, you can follow us at Factional B, and it should say Factional Fight Brothers. It should have our logo there, so you know it's us. And I'm going to be using this to sort of announce what's happening, what's going on behind the scenes, and to let you guys know when we're going to go live. One thing that I was having trouble with was when I was streaming other games, I didn't feel like I had a place to say, hey guys, I'm streaming, because it didn't feel right to post that onto the Worm forums or Worm Discord or into the Worm game to say, hey, I'm streaming, but it's not going to be Worm. So now I feel like I have a place where I can post that. So if you're interested in knowing when we're going to go live, I'm going to post every single time we go live at our Twitter, at Factional B, and as well throughout the week I'm going to just be posting random thoughts there, especially when we're playing. If we're going to be playing during the week, I can't get onto the stream, I'll just tweet out some random thoughts and things about Worm and maybe even things about other games, I don't know. So yeah, follow us at Factional B and to stay connected and let us. Yeah, that's all I really have to say about that. Speaking of other games, I spent a little bit of time reflecting on the streams that I did over the past little bit. When I did a stream playing 7 Days to Die, and I did a stream where I played Overwatch. Now, 7 Days to Die is like a new game that I really got into. It lasted about a couple weeks where I was just full tilt on 7 Days to Die, and then, like most games like that, it just sort of petered out. I played it for a little bit longer. It's kind of fun. I kind of saw the limitations of the game, like where it ends. I joined a multiplayer server. That didn't really go so well. I don't know. There's something about that game where it just doesn't feel like a full-on game that can be, it's great fun for the first couple weeks. It's great fun until you experience the zombie horde, which happens once every 7 days, hence 7 Days to Die. And yeah, that was kind of fun. And then after that, it kind of felt like that was the end of the game, really. I mean, I know there's like a whole bunch of progressions. I can get better guns, I can get better stuff, but ultimately for what? I'm not sure. So I kind of let that game go. It was fun while it lasted. Overwatch, though. Overwatch is a game that no matter what is going to happen, I'm going to be playing that. I've been playing Overwatch for 2 years or 3 years or however long it's been out, because like literally the moment it came out, I got it, and I've been playing ever since, and almost regular, play that probably just as regularly as Worm. And so I'm curious to know, are you guys interested in seeing more Overwatch? Or is that something that you feel like makes sense to branch out to on our stream? I'm not sure. My cousin who was playing with me, he's so into this idea of streaming. Like I think so anyway. We didn't really talk too much about it, but he once he saw me streaming Overwatch, he's like, I'm in. Hopped right in, and he was like very into it. So I'm curious to know if you guys are interested in seeing more of that. We'll see about it. I don't know like when might be a good time, but I have a vacation coming up very soon. It's the spring break. And so I probably will have some time to stream some extra stuff, and maybe Overwatch might be on the docket. So let me know in the comments below if that's something that you guys might be interested in tuning in for. Or maybe it's not. Maybe Overwatch is not your thing, and maybe you'd rather just see me play more Worm. And if that's the case, let me know that too. And we'll play it by ear. We'll see what happens. One thing about branching out to other games is that I feel as though if I could just get people into the stream that way and charm them with my personality, which I don't know if I even have that much of a personality, but nonetheless, if I can get people who are fans of Overwatch to even just take a look at Worm Online through the stream, I think that's a win for the game, for Worm Online. It's like branching out. Now I know Overwatch is a completely different game than Worm Online, but I'm a player who loves Overwatch and I love Worm Online. There's got to be people out there who have that same kind of connection with games. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. And then there's another game that I've been dabbling in and really having fun with, and I'm interested in trying out a stream on it. And that game is called Factorio. So Factorio is, it starts out feeling like a really crappy survival game. So it starts out with, it's like an overhead view, and you're like this little pixelated guy, and you gotta go and chop some trees, and then you gotta go mine some rocks, and you gotta use those things to create items and stuff like that. So it feels like a regular survival game, but really, really quickly, it becomes, how do I automate those processes? How do I create something that's gonna mine for me, create something that's gonna chop, I'm not sure actually if you can chop trees automated, but like mine and gather resources automatically, and then you create these little conveyor belts so the machines spit out the materials that get carried along in the conveyor belts, and then those conveyor belts bring the materials to a processing plant that you have to create, and it just becomes like this crazy assembly line of stuff, and it is super addictive, like so much fun watching your watching the resources getting gathered automatically and getting converted into other items. And yeah, so that's another game that I'm interested in streaming potentially, and I think that might be the next one I try. I don't know, we'll see how it goes. So let me know if that's something that's interesting to you, and again, also let me know if you'd rather just should we just stay in our lane, just stick with Worm. Yeah, I don't know. We'll figure it out. Now, another thing that, like, back to the stream and Worm and everything like that, I realized after, because we were so caught up in what we were doing on the stream, I completely realized that we forgot to talk about some of the important things that I had on my list to talk about. Like, it just completely, afterwards I was like baffled. Like, how did I forget? Like, it seems like we got into that newbie experience in our minds, and we were just like full on like, how do we do stuff? Let's play this game, and we never got to actually chatting about news or what's going on in the game or any of that. So I was reflecting on this. It's like, is it better to do that? Is it better to stick with, like, I guess I'd call it a let's play experience, where it's like all we're talking about is what's happening in the game, what we're thinking about related to the items that we're gathering and the things that we're creating, and like, is that sort of like the way to go? Or does it make sense to somehow weave in news items and current events in the game and controversies. Controversies is one that, there's a lot of controversies recently. A lot of things happening from the development side. There's the whole independence server lag, fixing up the servers issue. There's so much to talk about, and we completely ignored it this time around. And I'm wondering if it's like, should we just let that go? Should we just let it go and move on and just look forward and keep trucking along? Or should we delve into the nitty-gritty of what just happened? Because a whole bunch of stuff just happened, and trying to piece it together and try to figure it out, I think, might be interesting, but it also might come off a little bit, what's the word? I don't know. The last thing I want is that our stream to sort of delve into the negativity of it all. I don't want that to happen. So yeah, again, let me know in the comments below, and we'll try to take your feedback, and we're going to discuss this as well, try to figure out what we think is the best, but we're not. All right, well, the video just got cut off, and I think I was just rambling anyway. So again, leave any comments below on any of the thoughts that I've mentioned today, and we'll take it all in and try to figure out what we're going to be doing next. Let me know what you think, and until next time, you guys keep on worming. See you in the next episode. Have a good one, guys.